Hi, and welcome to Journey into the Word. My just passing through on this Wednesday. Come on in, family. Everyone, come on in so we can jump in and jump right back out. I'm glad to see you on today, and I'm traveling today, flying back in today. So I thought, let me just go ahead and get the message so you all have a message today. I just want my family to have their word. But my just passing through. So welcome, family, and come on in. Come to the table today for my just passing through to get words of encouragement. Proverbs 13 and 12 say, unrelenting disappointment leaves your heart sick, but a good break can turn life around. If you're still living, then disappointment is inevitable. Webster defines disappointment as when expectations fail to be met, producing anger, frustration, sadness, and discouragement. That's what Webster said. He defined disappointment as when expectations fail to be met, producing anger, frustration, sadness, and discouragement. Disappointment with those we look up to, those we live with, those we work with and depend on, and those who we have poured our life into. But there's one last disappointment I want us to dig into in today's message. This is the year you overcome and survive every disappointment. We're halfway in the year now. So we want to, no matter how great the disappointment, take it to God first in prayer. Even if you must enter your prayer closet, hurt, disappointed, bitter, angry, confused, rejected, abandoned, destroyed, and lied on, and betrayed, and all that stuff, take it all to God in prayer. Even if that prayer will last until the midnight hour. Thank God he never sleeps or slumbers. Take it to him, then rest in him, knowing he is going to bring something good out of your something bad. Once again, if you're still living, then disappointment is inevitable. Unrelenting disappointment leaves your heart sick. That's what Proverbs 13:12 said, but a good break can turn life around. With that said, here are some examples to help you when you're disappointed with those you look up to. Think of Samuel and Eli. 1 Samuel 1:4. Samuel's mother entrusted her child to Eli, the high priest, confident that he'd mentor and prepare him for God's service. But Eli had a serious flaw. He couldn't even control his own house. He was a weak, passive parent who stood by while his own sons abused their priestly privilege, bringing shame and disrepute to the family and ministry. There's a very befitting quote that says, he who thinketh he leadeth and hath no following him and has no one following him is only taking a walk. I'm going to say that again. There's a quote that says, he who thinketh he leadeth and hath no one following him is only taking a walk. I believe it's fair to say that Eli was only taking a walk. I mean, with a mentor like Eli, who even blamed young Samuel for taking a nosedive right into the very heart of immorality when the man he looked up to failed him badly. But no, instead, he filled his disappointment and kept his eyes on God. The Bible says this, Samuel grew and the Lord was with him. 1 Samuel 3:19. And as a result, God turned him into one of Israel's greatest prophets. Henry Ward Beecher accurately stated, one's best success comes after their greatest disappointment. Well done, Samuel, well done. So how are we to deal with the disappointment we feel in those we look up to that let us down? Because it's bound to happen at some point in life. Whether it's a parent, clergy, family, friend, business associate, spouse, governmental official, etc., we are bound to be let down by those we look up to. But does that give us license to lower our standards because they didn't raise theirs? Absolutely not. Samuel grew and the Lord was with him. You see, even when Eli messed up his role, Samuel maintained his character. He never attacked Eli. He didn't bash him. He didn't talk about him. He didn't spread rumors, lies, gossip, or even truth about him. No, Samuel just lived the life of a good leader, which reminds us that we can point fingers and lay blame. But where does that get us, even if we're in the right? The better bet is to take the high road. Live right, think right, speak right, behave right, no matter how wrong your surroundings or the people in them. So the next time someone you look up to lets you down, keep them in prayer and be a mirror to them, showing them the reflection of what good, not perfect, looks like. Why? Because Eli died and missed out, but the person you look up to doesn't have to. So share your heart with them, great and honestly, gently and honestly. Then whether they agree or disagree, you move onward, showing everyone that you can learn a good lesson even from a bad example. Don't judge them, just refuse to make their same errors in judgment. You can do it. I know you can. Number two, you're disappointed in those you live with. If anyone wouldn't let you down, surely it would be your family, right? Wrong. Just ask young Joseph. When his father favors him and God promises him a big dream, you think his own blood brothers would celebrate him and celebrate with him, right? But instead they responded with jealousy, anger, spite, bitterness, ridicule, and resentment, while dropping him in a pit, then selling him into slavery. Far from friends and home, he languished in prison for a crime he didn't commit. What an invitation to bitterness and an opportunity to rehearse the wrongs done him while plotting his revenge. But if he's done that, he'd have died an innocent, unknown convict in a foreign jail. Instead, he allowed God to vindicate him, using his circumstances to position, prepare, and promote him to being Egypt's prime minister. Now, that's how you deal with disappointment. Robert Kiyosaki said, the size of your success is measured by the strength of your desire, the size of your dreams, and how you handle disappointment along the way. Well done, Joseph. Well done. So how do you deal with family, your own blood that stabs you in the back? What happens when the attack is from an assailant under your own roof? What do you do when it's your sibling that drops you in the pit, or your cousin that sells you out, or your auntie that lands you behind bars? How do you recover from it when a relative that inflicted the hurt? You do as Joseph did. You trust God throughout the entire process. Nowhere do we read that Joseph cried out, "Why me, God?" He didn't blame Dad for not being there to protect him. He didn't retaliate against the cupbearer who forgot him. He didn't get angry with the whole world and try to issue his own form of the big payback. As he went from disaster to disaster, God never left his side. In every bad, God produced something good. Now, is it easy, especially when it's blood, to just trust the vindication and vengeance to God alone? No. But it's the best way to handle it, to put what you will mishandle in the hands of God. In the end, those same relatives had to come and do what? And bow before Joseph. Will that happen with you? Probably not. But isn't it worth it to trust God and let him work? Maybe, just maybe, you at least get the apology, and more importantly, you'll get the reconciliation. Family, take the high road, even when it's family that's trying to drive you off course. Number 3, you're disappointing those you work with and depend on. To succeed, you need people. You can't make it without them. And when those people fail you, it's painful. Imagine Moses' disappointment. He leaves his brother Aaron in charge while he attends a summit conference with God and receives the 10 Commandments. Returning, he finds Israel in anarchy, idolatry, and unspeakable perversion. And where's Aaron, you ask? Leading the rebellion. When Moses needs him most, Aaron fails him miserably. But watch Moses' true leadership shines even in darkness of disappointment. He confronts Aaron, takes the news, take the mess, what it was, to God for resolution, and prays forgiveness for Israel. God listens and reminds Moses of his assignment. It's disappointing, Moses, but go lead the people. My angel will go before you. Exodus 32:34. Listen, family, disappointment doesn't cancel your assignment, nor does it close the door on God's presence. So go forth, even during disappointment, and do what he sent you to do. Man must be disappointed with the lesser things of life before he can comprehend the full value of the greater. Edward G. Bulwer said, well done, Moses, well done. So leaders, dare I ask if you ever been disappointed by your leaders? And when I was given the name of Edward G. Bulwer Lytton, that's his name, he's the one that said, his quote was, man must be disappointed with the lesser things of life before he can comprehend the full value of the greater. So, well done, Moses, well done. So leaders, dare I ask if you've ever been disappointed by your leaders? Surely you have, many of us have, but that doesn't mean you disown them. You don't give up on them. You don't give them the cold shoulder. You don't attempt to replace them. You don't ignore them. And certainly you don't retaliate tit for tat with them. No, you follow Moses' example. Take the issue before God. Let him tell you how to handle it. Not your inner circle, not your clique, not your buddies and pals, and not people that you know don't like them. And certainly you don't attempt to get back at them from over the pulpit. Moses took the issue he had with Aaron, his leader, to God. And God could have told Moses, get rid of Aaron. You don't need him. You're the key person to this assignment. And anyhow, no, he simply tells Moses to not focus on the attack, but on his assignment. Go lead the people. My angel will go before you. Leaders, I do not have to tell you just how difficult it is to lead people, especially those who are stiff-necked, hard-headed, and rebellious. But do you get to retaliate? No. You are still held accountable for your leadership. your life and lifestyles and your response to offense. Your character and integrity must remain intact. You must still be above reproach, even when those you lead keep falling under it. Yet the disappointment hurts, but you can't let the wound infect your assignment. Do what Moses did. Take it to God. Receive his directives and continue. Why? Because God said, go lead the people, which means others will be affected by how you respond when disappointed. Don't let childish immaturity be the only way your followers can describe your leadership. Handle it, rise above it, and keep moving the people forward. Don't mess up your ministry because you're mad. Number 4, you're disappointing those you poured your life into. Let's check in again with Moses, founding pastor of the first church of the critical and the ungrateful, a congregation of former slaves delivered abundantly blessed en route to the promised land, but without a shred of loyalty or gratitude for the man who put everything on the line to make it all possible. Fresh out of Egypt, they turned on Moses, accusing, blaming, and berating him. Exodus 14. Was Moses disappointed and hurt by it? Sure, who wouldn't be? But each time he wanted to quit, he discussed it with God, prayed for his complaining flock, received fresh orders from headquarters, and returned to work. It's what God called men and women to do when they're disappointed and feel like giving up. If you use disappointment as a sort of mid-semester exam for learning, you will learn that every disappointment you overcome makes you stronger and wiser. The greatest success stories have been lived by those who had to grow strong and wise in that very way. Once again, well done, Moses. Well done. Leaders, once again, I want to encourage you because it's not easy to take one vision and try to get an entire house to see it and follow it. So I know it would be wonderful to have the whole house on the same page. However, realistically, our churches, our family trees with a whole lot of mixed nuts, okay? One person wants a school. The other person thinks the school won't work. The other person doesn't mind the school, but doesn't like the blueprint of the school. And all the while, you wish you could throw all of them in detention and keep building the vision by yourself. But unfortunately, pastors, it doesn't quite work out that way. We're part of one body with many members, and every member is vital to the health and well-being of the whole. So even when it seems like you can't get one good solid supporter, remember you always have God, and with him, you are in the majority. Moses led a frustrating bunch of complainers, but did he throw in the towel? No, and neither will you. Like it or not, but you will put even more of your life into the people, and some of them have eternal leaks, but that's not your problem. Their capacity is for God to handle. You simply pour of yourself into them. God will never allow you to dry out and die. He will continue to replenish you, his chosen vessel of honor. Therefore, understand that disappointments will visit, but don't let it move in. Stay the course. God's got you. Now take a moment and look at 1 Samuel 15, 10 and 12. God spoke to Samuel. I'm sorry I ever made Saul king. He's turned his back on me. He refuses to do what I tell him. Samuel was angry when he heard this. He prayed his anger and disappointment all through the night. As already stated, if you still live in disappointments, it's inevitable. But might I add, it's not impregnable, which means unable to overcome. You see, when anger and disappointment threatened Samuel, he fought back in prayer. If you're smart, you do the same. Disappointment only delivers a death blow to those who don't fight back. You can literally read those verses and feel Samuel's anger. After all, do you know how mad you must be to pray angry and disappointed all through the night? But sometimes prayer is the best thing because you're hurt, you're angry and disappointed. Your mouth runs faster than your mind. So you tend to say some things that you meant to say and a whole lot more that you didn't say. But when you empty out all of that out to God in prayer, he's a master sorter. He knows how to pick through that prayer for what's really needed. Therefore, no matter how great the disappointment, take it to God first in prayer. Even if you must enter your prayer closet, hurt, disappointed, bitter, angry, confused, rejected, abandoned, used, betrayed, lied on, suicidal, take it all to God in prayer. Even if that prayer will last long into the night. Thank God he never sleeps or slumbers. Take it to him, then rest in him, knowing he's going to bring something good out of your something bad. Now, we talked about disappointment with those who we look up to, those we live with, those we work with, and depend on, those we put our life into. But there's one last disappointment I want us to dig into, and that's disappointment in ourselves. It's potentially the most debilitating kind of disappointment because it can throw you into a downward spiral that's hard to stop or recover from. Depression is the inability to construct a future. And for most of us who can tell the whole truth, we've had so many little disappointments along the way that we can't even fathom a pencil sketch of a big future. Well, There's an even better quote that I want you to hold on to by Albert Ellis, and he says this: you largely construct your depression. It wasn't given to you. Therefore, you can deconstruct it. You see, mounting disappointments are a map with all directions pointing toward the destination of depression. But remember, anything you can construct, you can also deconstruct or cause the destruction of. The other definition I like is to dismantle and expose the working of. If you build up and construct a disappointment in your life, you could also grab the toolkit and deconstruct those same disappointments. Take them apart, dismount them, and expose the works behind them so you can ensure that what worked before in building that disappointment won't ever work again. And even if you brought the discouragement, disappointment, and depression on yourself, there's still a way to recover, just as Peter. Peter had sworn undying love and fidelity to Jesus. Lord, everybody else may abandon you, but not me. I'm yours to death. Read Matthew 26:33, 75. And he meant every word of it. But under the pressure surrounding the crucifixion, he yields and 3 times denies knowing Jesus. Later, remembering Jesus' words before the rooster crows, you'll deny me 3 times. Peter, heartbroken by his own dismal failure, went outside and wept bitterly. Luke 22:62. Have you ever been there asking God, how can you possibly use someone as messed up as me? I lost a job. I flunked out of school. I had this baby out of wedlock. I have a prison record. I fell off the wagon again. I destroyed my finances. My health is falling apart. My marriage is on life support, and we're both ready to pull the plug. I can't even remember the last time I prayed or fasted or studied your word. I can't remember the last time my hands clapped, my feet danced, or praises on my lips, or worship in my spirit. Lord, my family is a few mess. The loans were denied. The bills are about to drown me. There's so much to pray for with God and my kids. I don't even know where to start. My parents are getting sicker. God, I can't get 2 sentences to make sense in my head. Lord, why are you still trying to use me? Have you ever said some of those things to yourself? Listen, Peter failed to meet his own expectations. But Jesus was never shocked. He was aware of Peter's flaws when he called him into the ministry. He knew his blustering, outspoken disciple had a tender heart. So he extended grace to him rather than remove him from office. And as disqualified as you may feel from your disappointments in life, God is not going to remove you from office or your assignment either. When Christ gave post-resurrection orders, tell his disciples and Peter, Mark 16:7, to meet him in Galilee, he reaffirmed his choice of the failed disciple. The rest of Peter's story is New Testament history. So yes, you can recover even from disappointment in yourself. Never forget God is the master potter. And no matter how many times his clay become marred in his hands, he never throws us away. We're never discarded. He simply molds us into another vessel he can use again. Jeremiah 18:1-6, God told Jeremiah, up on your feet, go to the potter's house. When you get there, I'll tell you what I have to say. So I went to the potter's house, and sure enough, the potter was there, working away at his will. And whenever the potter was working on turned out badly, as sometimes happens when you're working with clay, the potter would simply start over and use the same clay to make another pot. Then God's message came to me. Can I do just as this potter does, people of Israel? God's decree. Watch this potter. In the same way that this potter works his clay, I work on you, people of Israel. At any moment, I may decide to pull up a people or a country by the roots and get rid of them. But if they repent of their wicked lives, I will think twice and start over with them. At another time, I might decide to plant a people or country. But if they don't cooperate and won't listen to me, I will think again and give up on the plans I had for them. That's in the Message Bible. So let up on yourself. If you think you've ruined God's purpose and plan for your life because of your screw-ups, you clearly have underestimated God's love, care, protection, and provision for you. You're not strong enough on your worst day to dismantle God's assignment on your life. Neither your mistakes nor your deliberate willful sin can hinder what God has for you. So know this, today is the day you forgive yourself and determine to be better today than you were yesterday, and better tomorrow than you'll be today. Every day he gives you brand new mercies, and not so you can keep going over old disappointments. Family, if last night wasn't your last night, God still has much in store for you. So stop beating yourself up. Sometimes God uses our greatest disappointments as reappointments to life and ministry. He hasn't given up on you, so don't give up on yourself. It's a new day. Make a renewed you and fulfill your purpose in life. God is waiting to hand you your next assignment. Now get back to work. This is a year you overcome and survive every disappointment. There will be disappointments in life. It's okay to feel sad. Just don't wallow for longer than necessary. Disappointments are just God's ways of saying, I've got something better. So be patient, have faith, and live your life. Disappointments were not meant to destroy you. They were meant to strengthen you and give you fortitude to accomplish your destiny. Disappointments are inevitable. Discouragement is a choice. So it's how you handle your disappointments that define you as a person. If you get up after the fall or just lay there in defeat. So Paulo said, when you find your path, you must not be afraid. You need to have sufficient courage to make mistakes. Disappointments, defeat, and despair are the tools God uses to show us the way. And that's my message for today. I think I've covered it in the 30 minutes. And I tell you, I thank each of you for joining me today, to taking time out in midday on a Wednesday at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time to come and get a word and be fed. We need our manna every day. We need that substance to sustain us every day to get through the week. So we midweek and we're trying to get through the rest of the week. So I just stopping by, passing through to give you words of encouragement. If you're disappointed, I hope that you play this message over and over again. Send it to friends of yours and share it with them. So bless you. Bless each one of you. As I said, I'm en route. In the air probably right now, but I had to give this message to you all and do it in advance to let you know I'm headed home today, Wednesday, and I'll be ready for you on Saturday with an awesome last testimony. The first one in July and the last one is going to be amazing, and I want to see you there. I want you to meet me at the table. God loves you, and I love you too. Thank you, Geraldine, again for everything you do, and I love each one of you, those of you on Facebook and those of you on YouTube. Have a blessed day and have a great week. Goodbye.